Hello and welcome to Nat Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. Today our guest is Monika Bronsgeest, who is a raw fooder and also homeschool mum, and she runs a raw food group in Melbourne as well. Welcome to the program.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming back.
No problem.
Can you tell us a little bit about, now we're talking about people that we love in our lives, and sometimes you think, oh look, if you eat, you don't have to eat all raw food, but if you eat a lot of raw food or more raw food, you could improve your situation. They could be quite sick, really, and we want to help them. Have you had situations like that?
I have found that, you know, you can't make someone do something, you can't do it for them. You know, they've got to decide to do it for themselves, and you can only do the best you can and lead by example, and they can see what's happening in your life, and that way they learn. You can't make them. You know, that's just, you know, and you can just love them and care for them and be there for them, and they have to do it the rest themselves. You know, and
then it hurts you a lot when you see that they're not doing it.
Of course, you know, like my father was diagnosed with cancer, and I thought, okay, I better show Dad, you know, all this stuff that I know. So I spent, I don't know, a couple of weeks researching. I put it all in a folder, and I said to Dad, I said, you have to read this, Dad. This is going to help you. Gave it to him, and he basically threw it back at me and wasn't interested, and said, I'm going to go with modern medicine. And he went on a trial drug and was a guinea pig for it, and after each injection he had a stroke, and yeah, and now he's dead.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You know, and I feel that if he would have tried a few alternative things, he would probably still be alive. And
did you ever feel like if I pushed it more on him, maybe he would have done it?
No. Yeah. No. Because otherwise that person hates you for doing that. They don't. No one wants to be pushed into doing anything. I know I don't.
Isn't it interesting? And it's even until death as well. You want to save their life, but you still have to respect their free will.
Of course you do. Yeah, absolutely.
Like God gives us all free will.
Yeah. You can't do it for them. So
exactly, and I guess you can tell them, you can show them, but then it hurts when you keep seeing them repeat the same problems to you over and over again.
Of course, and you know, my mum would say, we're doing everything we can for your father, and unfortunately sometimes you slip. And I would say to her, well, actually, no, you're not. I mean, you know, she really did think she was doing everything.
In her heart, yeah.
In her heart. Yeah. But, you know, I knew different, but nothing I could do about it.
Yeah, it's hard. I know some people, they might keep complaining about the same thing, and they want you to keep saying the same thing back to them, but they still don't do anything about it.
No. And look, you spend a lot of energy explaining stuff to people, spending time with people, and unless they go out and do it for themselves, you've just wasted all your time and all your effort, and you know, and 9 times out of 10 they just don't go and do it. So
it's funny because you just sometimes think maybe they need encouragement. That's why, you know, because they keep coming back for you to encourage them. Yeah. But then they still go and do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's difficult, you know, and it's got to be their choice.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise it doesn't work.
I remember this man once was saying to me, he worked in a drug and alcoholic place to try and help people get off drugs and alcohol. It's like a rehab place.
Yeah.
And he said there was a man that kept coming back, and he would, each time he would see him like as if he was seeing him for the first time, and he'd try and help him that way. And then he came back it was like 14 times, and the others were going, they've all given up on him. They're just like, no way, he's like at the door again. And he said to me that he tried to see him again the 14th time, like he'd seen him for the first time ever, and give him all the news as if it was all fresh. And he said that was it. That was the moment that he turned and changed his entire life. And it was because he kept giving him another chance. He loved him to the end.
Yeah. And sometimes it is like that, you know. It just takes that one moment where it just switches.
Yeah.
So
and the person changes, and now I think they became really good friends because he just saw that he really did care. It's patience, with a lot of patience.
Yeah.
And now you have a farm as well. You live on a farm. Do you grow any of your own food there?
Yeah, we try to grow as much of our food as we can, and we also grow lots of herbs and rare type of plants that people say that you can't eat, but we eat them.
And they grow in, that you can't eat, but you eat them. Oh, okay.
So, you read the books and it says, do not eat this plant because this plant is poisonous.
Oh.
And anyway, we're still alive.
Okay. So you're a bit of a risk taker.
Yeah.
Will I or won't I? Will I die or not if I eat this?
Well, it's confusing on the internet. You read so much information about so many different things and they all say different things.
Oh,
at the end of the day, you've got to choose what you believe, and some of these things, I thought the benefits outweigh the fact that it may be poisonous.
Yeah.
So
you're growing a lot of what fruit? What sort of fruit are you growing?
Everything that we can. We have apples and cherries and pears and. All sorts of different berries and citrus and we grow as much as we can. Yeah,
more than one tree of each, or
yeah.
So, oh, that's good. So you could just live off your own garden. Really,
that's the aim. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'd love to do. Have my own orchard. Just go out there.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to the shops anymore. You just go into your garden. And then you come back and forth to Melbourne as well, don't you?
Yes. And we buy supplies in Melbourne when we're here of things that we can't grow ourselves. And
so you get your fruit and veg from here that you haven't got up there.
Yeah, or grains and nuts and seeds that we need. Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Yeah. And living in the country where you get the clean air, clean water. We don't have the neighbours next door. It's a really good lifestyle.
You've got privacy and space and everything to do.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about homeschooling, because you're homeschooling as well.
Yeah. I've got 2 daughters and a son. My son went through the normal educational system. My oldest daughter, she was having problems at school and being picked on, and I also felt that she wasn't really thriving in school. And anyway, we came across homeschooling and decided to give it a go.
Okay, we have to go to break now, but we'll talk about the homeschooling when we get back.
Yep.
You're watching Nat Chat. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Nat Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Monika Bronsgeest, who is a raw fooder and runs a raw food group in Melbourne and is also a homeschool mum. Welcome back to the program, Monika. Thanks. Can you tell us about the homeschooling? We started talking a little bit before the break.
So I found homeschooling, and in Victoria to do homeschooling, it's relatively easy. You just have to register as a homeschooler and sign a piece of paper that says that you're teaching all 9 learning areas, and that's all. And I actually decided with my eldest daughter to she did it through distance education. So they provided the curriculum and corrected everything, but she's just doing this all at home. And anyway, my experience with the homeschooling was that she was thriving. All of a sudden, she was just doing so much better than what she was doing through the normal school system. It was just amazing.
And what age did she get to when you started? Or what year did she get to?
I think, my daughter actually did VCE through distance education.
Right, okay,
and now she's studying at university. So online university, actually.
Yeah.
Because we live in the country, it's actually easier for her to do it online. And that's going really well. So who said that homeschool kids don't get to university?
No, I've interviewed a few people that are in university as well.
Yeah, so I'm very proud of her. Yeah.
And the next
and my youngest daughter, she also didn't have a wonderful time at school. And so by that time I knew about the homeschooling, so I pulled her out of school, and I did the proper homeschooling with her that I'm teaching her myself. When she was at school, I was spending so much time trying to fill in all those holes in her education. She didn't know timetables, all these things that they're meant to be teaching them at school, and she didn't know them, and I'm filling in all the gaps. So I was being her teacher anyway. And so that.
And what age did she start homeschooling?
I think she was in grade 4 or grade 5.
Yeah. And did she prefer it when she pulled out of school, or
Absolutely.
would she rather be there?
Oh, no. She's very happy about the decision, and I actually sometimes threaten her and say, look, if you don't start working, I'll have to put you back in school. No, don't put me back in school,
And she was were you saying before the break she was being bullied a little bit at school?
Both of the girls, but for Emily, my youngest, it was more that she just wasn't learning well at school.
Right.
So for her it was a little bit different. The oldest daughter was more getting the bullying thing, which is it's sad.
It's very sad. Yeah, it shouldn't happen.
Kids can be very nasty.
But that's good that it's good that they're both doing so well.
Yeah.
And your oldest son, he didn't get homeschooled?
No, he didn't get homeschooled.
Slipped through the cracks.
Yeah. He didn't understand when I first started homeschooling the girls, and he was actually really angry at me for doing it.
Right.
And it took him a few years before he really understood what we were doing, and he's good about it now.
Is he? So he's supportive of it now?
Yeah, absolutely. He can sort of see that it does work and it is good. And
I suppose it's just because it's not that common.
Yeah.
It's like with the raw food thing. It's not that common. And years ago it wasn't common. Now it's a lot more people are doing it.
Yes.
It's when people don't know things.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're scared of things they don't know.
Exactly.
And pulling your child out of school, doing the unconventional thing is a really scary thing to do. Hard thing to do.
And how do you structure the days? Like, how do you do the courses and the subjects and the books and everything?
We don't have a lot of structure. We have things that we do at some point during a day, but every day in our lives is different. So some days we'll start off and we'll do writing and we'll do this and we'll do that, but other days we might have an outing or something. So at night time we'll do the learning. You know, it just depends on how the day works. We just juggle it to fit, and it works really, really well.
And is your daughter finding areas and subjects that she prefers more than others?
Yes, yes. She's very hands-on and creative, and she doesn't like the normal subjects that you study at school. She prefers to do other things, My daughter's a practical child, and she likes to do practical things rather than, learn about society or,
So you kind of hone in on her interests.
Absolutely,
and try
and that's what you do with
that,
homeschooling. You work out where their areas are and where they're good at and what they're interested in, because that helps them to learn. If you're excited about something, you want to learn about it. So
that's so true, because I spoke to another homeschool mum, and she was saying that she was trying to get her son to learn maths, and it was just like taking forever, and he wouldn't come on board. So she thought, I'll just leave it for a while and I'll focus on other subjects.
Yes, and that's the beauty of homeschooling, that you can do that. You don't have to, do what everyone else is doing. You can tailor it to meet that child's needs.
And then also years later, I think he must have come to about 13 or something, and he said, you know what, I really want to do maths now.
Yeah.
And he just thrived on it. Now he really wants to be an engineer, and he's it's because it's come from him.
Yes.
And she was just following his heart while she was homeschooling him.
Yeah.
Where his interest lies. So it's quite successful. And what was it where did you come to know about homeschooling? I
found it by accident on the internet, a desperate mother trying to help her children, and I was Googling on the internet non-stop trying to find an answer to our problems, and I was going to the school trying to get them to help with the bullying and stuff like that, and they can only do a limited amount of stuff, and it wasn't working. So and then I found the homeschooling thing, and I came across a few dead ends along the way because I had an ex-husband who didn't believe in homeschooling and thought that I was absolutely crazy. And then I found distance education, which she can do at home.
Yeah.
It's still, and so then he allowed me to take my daughter out of school. So I found a way around it, which was lovely.
All right, we're about to go to a break now.
Okay.
You're watching Nat Chat. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Nat Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Monika Bronsgeest, who is a raw fooder and runs a raw food group in Melbourne, and is also homeschooling her child at the moment. The others are homeschooled. Welcome back to the program.
Thanks.
Now you're only homeschooling one now, aren't you?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
And can you tell us, how has the family unit changed since you've adapted to homeschooling?
Because we're together a lot more, instead of sending a child off for 8 hours, we're all together 24 hours a day type of thing. It just brings you together closer, and I'm teaching her, so that also strengthens the bond between you. And because you're doing a lot more than what normally happens, the bond between the family becomes a lot stronger. And also, in my situation, because of the things that life has thrown at me, we've sort of had to all pull in together. And so that has made us stronger as well.
So the unity in the family is a lot stronger. The love for each other has grown.
Yeah. And just the bond between each other. Yeah. So...
I've heard that often, because I wasn't sure about homeschooling or anything when I'd first, and I just heard experiences. My sister-in-law, she's very, very close with her eldest daughter. Yes. All of her children she's very close with. But I remember asking her particularly about the eldest one because she breastfed her for the longest, and I said, is it because you breastfed her for the longest? And she said, no, it's because I homeschooled her. Yes. Because she went to school as well, and then she pulled her out, and this relationship, this bond had grown, and still now it's really strong now that she's older and working and everything.
Yeah. I think like doing the homeschooling thing, although I'm her mum, I'm her teacher, I'm also her best friend, it becomes, the whole thing becomes a lot bigger. Yeah. So.
I think that's probably how families were originally. Yeah. Because where did school come from in the first place anyway? Originally the parents would have taught the children.
That's right. And, I love the fact in homeschooling I can teach her anything I want to teach her. I'm in control of what's happening in her life, which is really good.
Yeah. And what about socially? Because everyone asks that question about socially. It's like one of the main things people say. Yeah,
sure. Well, she doesn't have the social aspect all the time. We're part of a homeschool or several homeschool groups. So we try to go there weekly. She's also does drama. So we have, so we join different groups to try and get that social aspect happening. Yeah. And also with homeschooling, I found that you're sort of integrating with not just people your own age, but people from all ages. Yeah. And I think homeschool children develop those skills better than other children because they're exposed to that more than what other children are.
Yeah, I've heard that too, obviously, because they learn to speak to all ages. Like in the homeschool group we've just started, Nina's only 6, but the homeschool group's like from 0, because some of the mums still have little children, and to like 15, 16. And so they all play together. It's like in a big school ground.
Yeah. And I found also, like, we've had done sporting activities as a homeschool group. Yeah. And it's all the kids playing together, not just, the little kids and playing together and the big kids playing together. Everyone plays together, and it's, there's none of that bullying happening. It's so different.
So they seem so much... They seem very well balanced. Yes. That was what attracted me to it, because I saw my nieces and nephews, how they were, and I thought, wow, they're such well balanced, calm individuals.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like when I originally did the homeschooling thing, my son, because he didn't understand it, didn't know what it was about, you know, and even now when we talk about homeschooling, he says, you know, I understand it all and I see that it's a good thing, but socially, I think, he says, I think she still misses out. But I disagree with that.
And how does she feel? I guess she's the main
Oh,
one.
look, she would like to have a lot more friends her own age and that sort of thing, but, you know, I think she does pretty good.
Yeah.
And, you know, and we're always looking for ways to expand her social network.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And on the raw food topic, is there any kind of things, because this is the last segment, that you want to leave our viewers with? Say, for example, someone's just watching, they've just heard about it now for the first time. What sort of things could they do to maybe improve their life or improve their diet or their lifestyle? Have you got any tips you want to pass on from your experience?
The more raw food that you can put in your life, the better it is for you. You don't have to go 100% raw, but, you know, have some raw food. It's not hard. And if you're interested in raw food, join the Melbourne Raw Food Group or a raw food group wherever you are.
Yeah.
And that gives you a lot of inspiration and information, and that would.
And is this something you think you'll be doing for the rest of your life?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
my life, you know.
Totally convinced of it.
Yeah.
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 And overall, in your physical health, have you noticed, what sort of improvements have you noticed since you did it?
Energy beyond belief.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And people say, oh, I can't understand why you've got so much energy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know why I've got that much energy, because I'm eating food that's nutrient dense.
And did you have any ailments at all before you started raw food?
No, nothing.
Right. It's interesting because years ago I met this guy who had cancer, bowel cancer, so he went on a raw food diet, and he said to me that the only thing that would make him give up the raw food is if he had to see billboard, you know, seeing all the billboards, all the advertising and everything. If he says, if I die, it's because of those billboards and the advertising. And he was like, I was filming him, it was just a little, you know, thing. And he said that was the reason. I was thinking, and I started to think before when we were talking off camera, that it was because it wasn't his choice to do it. He felt he had to do it.
Yes, I do it because I've chosen to do it, and that's the difference.
That's the difference, isn't it? It has to be your choice.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
it's
he died.
with anything.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
But also, although he was a really good example to other people for years before he died, it just got too much for him, he said, with all those advertisements.
Yes.
But he helped a lot of people that were sick as well. And I think he stretched himself to the limit. You know how some people are so passionate about something, they want to give it to everybody else, but he wore himself out in the process as well.
Yeah. And, you know, talking about my son, when he started having sleepovers at other people's places, and he would come back home and he'd say to me, you know, Mum, I don't understand. You know, I went over to so-and-so's house and they didn't have any fruit and no vegetables in their house. He goes, how do people live like that?
Exactly. How do people live like that? Thanks so much for coming on the program.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
You've been watching Nat Chat. I'm Mirella Rich and our guest was Monika Bronsgeest. I hope you enjoyed the program. See you again soon.